Welcome back. Former Fox News host turned podcaster Tucker Carlson facing controversy for hosting Nick Fuentes on his podcast. Fuentes has been described as holding white nationalist and anti-Semitic views. Several top leaders in the conservative movement are reacting in outrage at the podcast appearance, and it's prompted those on the left and right to say there could be a growing anti-Semitic shift within the far right. Now it may be threatening to fracture the Republican Party.
And then adding fuel to the fire here is Kevin Roberts, the president of the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank. Roberts publicly defended Carlson's decision to host Fuentes. He put out the following video on social media.
The venomous coalition attacking him are sowing division. Their attempt to cancel him will fail. Most importantly, the American people expect us to be focusing on our political adversaries on the left, not attacking our friends on the right. I disagree with, and even abhor, things that Nick Fuentes says. But canceling him is not the answer either. When we disagree with a person's thoughts and opinions, we challenge those ideas in debate.
And concerns about anti-Semitism on the far right were front and center at the annual Republican Jewish Coalition Summit this weekend in Las Vegas. Sam Markstein is a spokesperson and national political director at the Republican Jewish Coalition. So, Sam, thanks so much for taking the time. Obviously, you had a very busy weekend event, but I'll just get your overall thoughts on how you're viewing the controversy now that several days have passed since the initial podcast appearance took place, and then what we just heard there from Mr. Roberts.
Yes, thanks so much for having me this morning. So the Republican Party is not fractured on this issue. The overwhelming majority of Republicans are in the Trump-Reagan wing of the party, which totally rejects anti-Semitism and bigotry of any kind. And we're unafraid to call out the anti-Semitism on the far-right fringe. This is something that the Democrats refused to do, failed to do for a decade, and you're seeing what the results are. They have had to live with the consequences of their failures for the last several election cycles. And so we are not going to let that happen in the Republican Party. As my friend Ari Fleischer likes to say, the Democrats have a 105-degree fever and the Republicans have a sore throat, and we're not going to let the cold get any worse than it is. And so we believe in the First Amendment. Cancel culture is the wrong way to do this, but we're also allowed to criticize when we see things that we believe are wrong, and that includes giving an unchallenged platform to an anti-Semite like Nick Fuentes.
And one of those voices was Texas Senator Ted Cruz. He made these remarks at the Republican Jewish Coalition in Las Vegas. This is what he's noticing. Watch.
But unfortunately, it's not limited to the left. And everyone here knows we're seeing more and more anti-Semitism rising on the right. In the last 6 months, I've seen more anti-Semitism on the right than I have in my entire life. This is a poison, and I believe we are facing an existential crisis in our party and in our country.
So you touched on this a little bit there, but he's noticing a trend. Do you see it the same way?
Well, the contrast on this is so clear, and Senator Cruz is totally right. You contrast the loud Republican voices, shoulder to shoulder with the Republican Jewish Coalition and everyone of goodwill denouncing anti-Semitism. And yet tomorrow in New York City, Zohran Mamdani is most likely going to be elected as the mayor of New York, which is the largest city in the country with the largest population of Jews in the United States outside of Israel. And so the contrast on this is incredibly clear. Democrats have aided and abetted and appeased anti-Semites in their own party, communists in their own party, Stalinists and Marxists in their own party for decades. We will not let that happen in the Republican Party. You've seen Speaker Johnson call this out unequivocally. Meanwhile, Hakeem Jeffries endorses Zohran Mamdani. So I'm proud to be a Republican this week. There are, again, a large majority of Republicans speaking out against this. And I have to just point out, it wasn't just Senator Cruz who pointed this out. We had Jewish American patriots from across the country gathered in Las Vegas this past weekend for the RJC Leadership Summit to hear from key Republican leaders, including President Trump, Speaker Johnson, Lee Zeldin, Senators McCormick and Graham and Scott and Cruz, the RNC chairman, Joe Gruters, all four House Republicans who are Jewish, Congressman Donalds, next governor of Florida, Governor Sanders, and key people in the media, including Scott Jennings, Mark Levin, and Newsmax's own Mr. Ruddy. So